I guess this is upside down. I don't understand how, but there's nobody watching right now, so, oh, maybe there is. Anywho, let me flip you this way. Hey, peoples. Let's see here. I am in need of just kind of like getting a lot of stuff off my chest. I debated. Hey, girl. Hey, Candace. Well, I'll talk to you, Candace, then, because you don't know what's on right now. But I debated not sharing this because I was like, man, people are gonna look at me totally different if I reveal this stuff. And, you know, it's just like hard. I can't even really figure out what my thoughts are because I talk a lot, you know. And I know I talk a lot and I'm rambling on about a lot of stuff. But, like, I realized I actually don't tell the truth about a lot of things. Like, I keep a lot of stuff to myself and I deal with it and I process it. And then when I feel comfortable enough, then I'll share it. And then it's like, usually that's when I think I'm over it, but not necessarily when I'm really dealing with the situation. And I think that's smart sometimes, but other times it's like a hindrance to growth because you're afraid of how people gonna react. But, you know, everybody know I'm saved. You know I'm saved, right? Candace, you don't say, right? Okay. So, I'm saved. I've been saved for like almost 3 years now. And when I first got saved, I messed up. And girl, you know, I messed up. And I messed up in a very, I slipped in a very heavy way. But, and I think even then, I kind of wanted to. I was kind of like I'm tired of this Christian life. It was boring. I couldn't hang out with my friends. I couldn't do the stuff because, you know, that's the only people I knew. I know we all do it every day, and that's the point. That's what I'm saying. So the point is, though, when I started getting into the real Christian communities and, like, going back to church and being involved and being a leader, like, there's this pressure. And granted, I know the Bible addresses that, and I could actually pull it up, but I'm not, because I really didn't take the time to do all of that, and I probably should have. But this is not the Bible stuff. It's just me talking right now. As a leader, I know there's a lot of pressure to be elevated and to not be as open about a lot of stuff because you are going to be judged and you're going to be compared to a lot of different things and everything. Like, but I know last year at some point in time my salvation came into question by someone, and I need to actually address this because I didn't address it, and I want to live a biblical life, but I haven't really told that person how it made me feel. And from that, I rebelled. I didn't rebel necessarily in action because at that time I wasn't really doing nothing. I was really just seeking God on a lot of stuff. I mean, I was still drinking, yeah, and I was like still drinking a little bit, but I wasn't like getting drunk like I used to, you know. And it was like other stuff that I was probably doing that was not as holy, you know. But I love the Lord. Like, I was just set on living this life. And when that happened to me, I felt so judged. I felt so vulnerable and raw. Like, so what, are people just looking at me, like, expecting me to just really mess up? Expecting me to just really, you know, act like I'm faking? Because I'm like, I don't fake. That's one thing I don't do. But because of that, I rebelled. And it was, like I said, it wasn't physical. It was a more internal rebellion. It was like, I'm gonna distance myself because I started looking at people and I started feeling like, how y'all gonna look at me? And just because I might have had a couple of drinks and I told you about it, like, you didn't catch me, I admitted it, you know, or I confessed that, you know, hey, sometimes I just wish I could go back to my old life because it was easier. I didn't have to deal with all this stuff. You know, it's like, I confessed that, being honest, asking you to pray for me, asking, Misery Dizzler Company, you know, asking you to, like, really keep me in your prayers and encourage me so that I will grow, so that I will get beyond that feeling of wanting to be comfortable and seeking God and having faith, you know. But so when that gets turned into, oh, are you really saved? It's like, whoa, bro, you know. And so I shut down. I honestly shut down. Like my blog, you wonder why I can't write as much, or I don't write as much as I should be writing, because first of all, I am lazy. Second of all, I don't have discipline. Third of all, I'm not obedient in a lot of things. And all of that comes because oftentimes I'm looking at people and instead of looking at God, or I'm looking at myself instead of looking at God. And the point is, that secret rebellion, that was the sin. That was the sin that was dwelling in my heart. It has been dwelling in my heart for over a year, is rebelling against people and being in people bondage, honestly. Being stuck, wanting to fit in, wanting to feel as if I'm accepted in this Christian community and that I'm valuable. And not only that, but like, God actually talks to me. Like, God is just, I don't got no ministry, or I don't got no people, really following me, but at the same time, God talks to me, and God has a plan for me, just like he does for you. Just because you don't see the fruit of it the same way you see it doesn't mean that it's any different. That's how I felt. It was like, so then I became judgmental. Extremely judgmental. I had probably already been judgmental, but more so, and unforgiving, looking at stuff that God would show me, which would be like stuff that, and God shows me a lot of stuff, honestly, and he would tell me to pray. I wouldn't pray. I'd be like, I ain't praying for them. I know you just showed me the real truth about them. You just gave me true discernment about that, and I know what they got going on. So, whatever, and I kind of would balk at God. So it was a lack of reverence I had for the Lord, that I didn't want to obey him. I didn't want that, because I felt like I see these people doing exactly what you say not to do, because just because they might not be drinking don't mean they not gossiping. Just because they might not be, doing this don't mean they not being slandered or doing all this other stuff that is still against you. And so, again, that all goes into recent confessions that I need to make, because I didn't expect to be in a relationship I'm in right now. I didn't prepare for it. I didn't plan for it. And I mean, I didn't prepare for it, meaning that my heart was still looking at what all I needed to change on the inside. And it was like, yeah, I desire a man. But God, I got so much wrong in me. Still, I just don't know how I'm going to handle being in a relationship right now. And basically, God surprised me. He hit me over the head with this thing, and it shocked the mess out of me, and it wasn't what I expected. I thought I was going to be matched up with someone that was, spiritually for real in the word and everything, but from this situation, God has shown me how immature I am. And it's like, hold up, I'm sitting here thinking I need to have this super mature dude because, I'm so, well versed and so strong in some stuff. And I was like, no, you still disobedient. You still selfish. You still absorbed with faith. And at the end of the day, I need you to learn and I need you to grow. So while I was being a little judgmental of Boo and not really wanting him to be in my life, because I felt it was unfair, I didn't take that to God. I would complain to God. I would yell and I would say, this is not fair. This is not da-da-da-da. But I wouldn't really say, you know what, God, I hear you. And let me just trust you and really obey, even though he was continuously saying, hey, this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen. Hey, who else is on the line? I just want to, hear y'all opinions. Like y'all can give comments whenever, But anywho, that situation turned into a lot of the stuff that I was dealing with, which was lust. Because my past life, I was a sex addict, I guess you could say. I had a counselor for that as well. But there's a lot of stuff that I needed to grow from, and I thought that I had been healed from this stuff because I went to counseling. I went, asking for renewal. There was things that were going on, but the Lord just kept showing to me how much deeper those issues go, because not only was it just a physical thing, it was a mental thing, and it was a heart thing. And the reality is, I could look at a person and sex would come to mind, and it could be simple TV programs or music, like just little stuff. Like, why y'all want to watch a movie or want to watch something else? Like, that stuff is a trigger to me. That stuff makes me be like, ooh, And it's like, I got tired, honestly. I got tired of guarding my mind and guarding my heart and guarding all that stuff. Like, that stuff got like burdensome because it felt like I couldn't do nothing. Couldn't watch nothing. Couldn't talk about nothing. And I just felt like, again, nobody's really talking about how isolated you feel when you have to set this XYZ boundaries. I'm not saying I never did. I set these boundaries, and it got frustrating because you can't ever let these boundaries go. You have to like continue to do them every day, because once you mess up that one day, you can wind up, implanting something in your mind that you focus on the rest of the day, and that's what would happen, and that's what still happens even now. So the point is, the way I knew I started liking old dude, I started feeling, you know what, and that was before we were even together. I was sitting there like, whoa, my body is telling me some things. And I was freaking out because I'm like, it's been 2 years. I ain't been with nobody in 2 years. And it's the first thing that want to happen is that's how, and the reality is, that's how I connected with people. I didn't talk to people. I didn't really have relationships. I hadn't had a boyfriend since I was 18 years old. And I'm 30 now. So it was like, if I liked the dude, then I would physically show it. And for that to have been that reaction is coming, and it's not just, I physically like you. This was, I like you, and not even just I like you. I hear God in this, and I hear God telling me to be with you, and this and that, da da da. And my body is reacting, and you ain't even touched me, you ain't even kissed me, you ain't did nothing. I'm just sitting here like, woo. Just the idea of you is, your voice sometimes get all ATL hood. Sometimes it just be like, woo, Those are the things that I would go through. But anywho, so the reality is, I have not been pure with my man. And it was a burden of, do I tell this or do I keep it to myself? And I was like, even after the first situation happened, I was like, I'm not sharing this on my blog. I'm not sharing this because we gotta figure this out. And honestly, I wasn't going to share it because I was like, this changes my story. Like, dang, what my Christian story look like now? Going from, a lot of sex to, she's saved, sanctified, and holy now. And everyone's going to look at it as a fairy tale because, everything just worked out so great. And the reality was, it did. And I didn't find myself in that situation. I found myself feeling like, dang, I ain't worth nothing no more. Like, my story ain't worth nothing no more. Like, here I am, I don't have sex with my man. Good grief. Can't even get past that, whatever, And I thought I had finished, figured it out. But the funny thing was, like, the evidence of that was just everywhere. Hey, 6'4" Beast, what's your name? I don't know your name. I see your name, but who are you really? But basically, the point is, I have gotten very attached to what things should look like being a Christian. Granted, the word says what the word says about the characteristics we should have, and what I have observed. And then again, we all do sin daily. We all do. But they're in our Christian communities, or in general, like, people, the journey is not a sprint. It is, and I was like, it's not a race to be like done immediately. It takes time. I'll be like Shrek. I'm like an onion. There's layers to this. I have to peel back a layer after layer a layer, and it's like I just feel like people don't really expose their stuff until after they've done it, and after it's been a year or two. And I found myself wanting to do that, and it's like, I don't want to have anyone else go through what I'm going through right now, feeling like no one understands, and that and I know God knows my heart, which is why I have peace about sharing all this. And even marrying my husband, he my husband. I don't know if I know that. That's my husband, because God has ordained all of this. God was in the beginning of all of this, and he's still in the middle of it. And I have had sex with this man, I don't know how many times. And I am repentant of it. It is not like I'm sitting here saying I want to continue, because I don't. But my reality is, if I wound up being pregnant, please don't think I'm getting married to him because I'm pregnant. That has nothing to do with it. I pray to God I'm not pregnant, because I don't want no babies right now. But if that's the consequence, then I accept it. And it's not, I didn't want, yes, my husband, I didn't want 64B. Oh, that's your name. Oh, hey, baby. 64B is my baby. That's my husband. Okay, he's on. But anyway, I see. I know. I see. But my point is that I didn't want to be like feeling like, oh, I can only share this if I get pregnant. You know, like if I had the evidence of my sin. Because honestly, that's kind of what it was. It was like a fear of, man, if I wind up being pregnant, I mean, I really, really am exposing that I ain't for real got it together. And like people gonna be like, oh, she ain't really saved because she has sex and she pregnant and she get married with a baby. And I'm squashing all that. Like, thank you, Candace, though. That was cute, though. My reaction was cute. I just realized. But I want to squash all that because I do not want to live any longer in fear of what people got to say. Because I know what God is telling me. And I know what God is sharing with me. And I know I'm disobedient. And I know I disobey him. So I am not even... Yes, boo, I feel you. But I am not in no way trying to make excuses for it. I am no way validating it, saying that I have a right to do what I want to do. That is not what I'm speaking. I know when I'm saying, and that's the reality, is when I do this stuff, I do it because I want to. But that's the same difference of what I do every day, which is sin. And God told me that. He was like, the same thing you did when you had sex with him is the same thing you do when you eat what I told you not to eat. It's the same thing you do when you sleep when I tell you to wake up. It's the same thing you do when you don't go walking when I told you to go walking. And it's like, he was like, it's your heart, Faith. Your heart is not being cleansed by me the way you want it to be and the way I want it to be because you refuse to let go. And you refuse to let go. Exactly. A sin is a sin no matter what. It does not matter what these sins are. So if we sit around talking about somebody that we go to church, we still sinning. Like, and we have to answer for every word that we speak, every action that we do. So my weight is not going to be any different than yours if you talk. You may not have done anything. You may not have slept with a man. You may still be a virgin. But if your mouth is wicked, if your heart is wicked, if you are still sitting around talking about, oh, so-and-so, because that's your husband and you mad that she talked to him, then you, my dear, are sinning. That's it, plain and simple. Or even when it deals with conflict, when you don't like so-and-so and you don't like so-and-so and y'all want to talk about something because so-and-so did something to you, then why don't you handle that biblically? Why don't you go and talk to that person one-on-one? And then as the word says, if that person does not accept it, then you bring somebody else into the picture. And then if that doesn't happen, then you take it to the church. But all this other stuff of this backbiting, all this gossiping, all this talking has to stop. And that's what I'm frustrated with because I no longer want to be a part of it. I no longer want to sit around talking about anybody that I have not confronted one-on-one. So honestly, if I got something against you, please expect that we gonna be talking in the next week. Because I'm not trying to live this life of sin no more. Holy. Like, you know, I need to get rid of a lot of stuff inside of me. And that means jealousy. That means envy. That means cover. You know, like, I can't talk. My baby will laugh at me in a minute. He gonna laugh at me because I can't talk. But there's just a lot of stuff in me. And I don't want to be this way no more. I don't want to sit here. It's not just I don't want to have sex outside of marriage. No, that's one thing that I did. But I was doing a lot. And I'm like, and I admit it. I admit it and I accept it and I accept those consequences for that. But there's just always going to be a lot more that God has to clean out of me and allow me to see. Hey, to I don't know who just joined, but thank you for joining. But and I'm just like, I want to encourage people right now, like, just keep pressing. Like, I know I have been very judgmental of other Christians because I see a lot of stuff of them and in their flesh or who they are. And I basically say, oh, you ain't supposed to be doing that if you're a Christian. I'm sorry. If I have done that to you, I'm sorry. I would probably even reach out and tell some people I'm sorry because it's not my place. It is not my place to come and tell you exactly how God is working in you. Granted, if I'm close to you and I know what you're doing deliberately and I know you're sinning against God, then yeah, I'm going to tell you some stuff. And yeah, I'm going to be real with you, and I'm going to expect for you to, and I to be able to talk about that stuff openly. But it's not going to be in a sense where I now say that you're not saved. Because again, I will be like, look, what you want? What you want? Either you want God or you want you. Because I ask my friends that if you want to live your life, live your life. But don't say I live my life and I'm a Christian and you really don't want to do these things. Because it's a difference between a person who willingly sins versus a person who stumbles. Because I stumble, and I know I stumble. And yes, babe, and we as Christians do have to hold one another accountable. And that's my point. That I want people to hold me accountable. I don't want nobody to go behind my back talking about anything that I'm going through. I want you to say, sis, something about that was a little, da-da-da. So have you thought about maybe, putting boundaries up? Or have you thought about doing this, doing that? Like something to just be beneficial to me, and not something that's going to tear me down or make me feel resentment and want to leave or feel like you don't understand or you don't support. And it's like, you don't have to support my sin. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking you is to support me growing. To say, look, what are the resources you need? Because I kid you not. I'm sorry, I done put bug spray on me and I'm still getting bit. This is ridiculous. One of the resources that I did was find me a Christian counselor that dealt with sex addiction. But the reality is I didn't show up. I didn't show up that often. I went when I felt like going. And I'm not saying that God could not have, because I know the Lord could have actually taken care of that for me without going to Christian counsel. But the reason I went to her was because I felt like I had nobody else to talk to. I was like, I ain't got nobody to talk to in this world. They don't really want to be real and raw about this stuff and how prevalent it is in our society and how that affects you now. When you've been living 20-something years doing whatever you feel like doing, and then you come to Christ, you can't expect that stuff to go away immediately. There's few and far people who have been able to be delivered from stuff immediately. Most people, they're gonna go through a lot of growth. And honestly, if you see me in 2 more years and you ask me what's going on, well, I'm gonna be married by then, so but I'm just playing. It still doesn't matter if my mind is still just as wicked as it was 2 years ago. So it's like this purity thing, it still has to go forward even in marriage. I'm still going to have to be pure in my mind. I'm still not going to be able to watch certain movies. I'm still not going to be able to listen to certain music. It's going to be what I have to do in order to get it right. And so it's like, but whatever the formulas people think is how you make yourself a better Christian, that's not it. Like, you can't follow the formula, but you can follow Christ. And I'm like, I just want to follow him. I want to learn what it is. No, I ain't got no scriptures right now to back up none of this stuff out the top of my head. But I know what God I know what he placed in my heart, and I know it's in the word. Because I've read it. I know the word. And I'm still learning the word. But yeah, so to be honest with you, I was going to go buy a pregnancy test. And I was going to go figure out if it was because of that. Because I was feeling some type of way. But I heard God. And he told me I wasn't pregnant. So I'm going to have to trust the Lord and trust that I'm not, and not feed into that fear of that being the case. But again, I didn't do this out of fear. Oh, I'm pregnant, so let me just tell them before I actually want to be. No, this was something that I needed to share. It was something that needed to be revealed. And I want to honor God. And I'm still, like I said, and I know God tells us to be mindful of the words we speak, and also to speak in wisdom. And again, I am learning how to be wise. I am learning how to speak properly. But I know one of the main things is, honestly, it's better if we just learn how to be quiet. Not be quiet with our struggles. Not be quiet with what we're going through, because that's what we need to share more of, so we can teach others. But I think we need to learn how to be quiet in response to people, because we take our experiences and we put them on everyone else. and we say, well, if you were really saved, or if you were really in the Lord, you would, but you don't know that person's story. You don't know their history. You don't know any of that stuff that contributes to where they are now, especially in their walk with Christ. And I'm saying you because I don't. This is what I have done. I have taken my experiences or others' experiences and said, well, you should do this. Honestly, all I need to tell them is you should go to God. You should pray. And here are some resources. And here are some people you can, watch or read to assist you in learning how to do this and learning how to grow. But I can't give you that formula. I can't give you this plan because your story ain't mine. Your history ain't mine. And we might have similarities, but at the end of the day, this walk is different for each one of us. But we follow the same God and we have the same Holy Spirit. And I am a firm believer that the same God that speaks to you is the same God that speaks to me. And if he tells me to walk that way, I'm going to walk that way. And if he tells you to walk that way, you walk that way. It's the same God. But the one thing I know he does ask is for us to be holy as he is holy. And I just don't want to be pretending no more. Even if it was just for 2 months, or it really was, well, no, it was more than 2 months, because literally, like I said, just because I wouldn't have sex don't mean my mind wasn't already in the dirt, because it was. But I don't want to go into the next stage of my life, which is marriage, which is leading choir, and prayerfully that's what's still going to continue to happen, feeling as if I can't be honest and transparent, because I don't want to tell anybody else, you gotta be honest, you gotta be transparent, and I'm holding something in. So that's what this video was. It was me saying, you know what, this is faith. Completely. All the above. Any questions from my 3 people that are here, because the other people left? I don't care. I'm not doing it for numbers. I don't care, as long as one person hears it, and if it frees them from something, that's awesome. Hey babe, I know you're there. And yes, he knew I was going to be talking about this before I did it. He knows when I'm vlogging or writing because he's a part of my life, and I ain't perfect, and I don't know if he expected all of this, but I don't know. I sometimes think you appreciate seeing me in my flaws. Oh, you kind of expected this? Okay. I think it's a refreshing type of thing for you, particularly, babe, when you see me having to, like, kind of be broken. Oh, you say kind of perfect. What you talking about is kind of perfect? I ain't perfect. Stop trying to butter me up. Oops. I'm having an accident on the swing, y'all. Anywho. Yeah. I think that's it. That was just on my heart. And I'm not gonna fall. I don't want to fall either. It was on my heart. And again, I don't know. I'll post this on YouTube as well in the link, just because I need to get it off my chest, not just because I want to talk. As I always say, it's not because I want to put nobody in my business. It's what I believe God is telling me to do. And I'm going to lead by example, which is I'm going to share what's going on. But disclaimer, or a little bit, I don't expect everyone else to be as transparent as I am. I honestly know that it is not possible for everyone to handle that, because honestly it's not possible for me to handle it as often as God asks me to, because I take a seriously long time obeying him and revealing the stuff that I do reveal, because again, when you think about people being all in your business and knowing stuff that you are struggling with, you feel vulnerable. I don't like feeling vulnerable. I don't like feeling exposed. And that is something in an area God is still working with me on. The one thing I do know is that when I do speak out, once I've done it, I feel freer. I feel freer to walk in faith, to trust that God is going to handle it and he's going to protect me. And so I don't encourage people to do it just because, oh, it's cute to do it and tell your business. No. It is a dangerous thing to ask to be free in Christ. It is a dangerous thing to speak out openly about anything that's going on in your life. I think it's a righteous thing if done with the Holy Spirit and through the Holy Spirit. But if you haven't done this in prayer, if you haven't really asked God if this is what you're supposed to be doing, you're gonna wind up finding yourself in a lot of hot situations. And again, I have a lot of things I need to do, which is, like I said, I need to address some people, and I need to forgive some people, and I need to ask for forgiveness, because I have definitely distanced myself, and I've put up a lot of walls, and my flesh, not the devil. The devil didn't do nothing that I didn't let him do, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, the devil didn't force me to do anything. You forgive me, babe. What I do to you? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I was saying. We gotta stop blaming the devil. The devil is not omniscient. What's that word? Or omnipotent and all the other stuff. Like, he is not God. He cannot infiltrate our minds the way we act like. He cannot force us to do anything that we don't want to do. He gives everyone a choice. He gave Jesus a choice, and he gives us a choice. And that's honestly only if he find you that important enough to even test you like that. But he is seeking out people to destroy and to devour. And of course he wants to destroy all of us. But the reality is we destroy ourselves before he even touches us. That's just us. And I ain't trying to help him out no more. I'm trying to defeat the enemy. So this is how I defeat the enemy. By calling him a little rascal. Because like I said, he probably got the Napoleon syndrome. He probably one of the little shortest, little tiniest little weasels out there. And we done gave him all this credit. And he ain't nothing to be afraid of. But that's it. I think that's it. Guys, is that it? I think that's it. No. Who's still there? These 3 people. Well, yeah, that's it. So, alright, babe. I love you too. I'll talk to you later, okay? Love you. Aww. Thanks for the love, boo. Smooches. So much love. Alright, I'll talk to you later. I can't do this thing. Hold up. How I get off? Yeah, see, I don't use this enough. Alright. Peace.